Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris, and welcome back to another episode of LEGO Awards 2024, the show where I break down the best of the best, be it minifigures or sets, that LEGO released this year in 2024. Last time we took a look at the best non-licensed minifigures of the year, and now we're going to take a look at the top 10 best licensed minifigures we got this year. From D&D, to Jaws, to Marvel, to DC, to Star Wars, we got a ton of great licensed minifigures, and it was really hard narrowing down this list to 10, but I'm gonna try. And so, let's jump on in right now to number 10. Okay, starting off with number 10, we have a minifigure from the LEGO Icons Dune set, and that is Gurney Halleck. I knew I wanted to include one of the incredible Dune minifigures on this list, and while I came very close to making this pick Baron Harkonnen, it's hard for me to justify putting a minifigure that really just has a plain torso and leg print but a very cool cloth piece compared to a fully decked out, detailed minifigure like Gurney Halleck here. I feel like they really were able to capture Josh Brolin's, the actor's expression and facial features from the movie. It's done really well. And my favorite part about the figure is that it actually is molded in pearl dark gray. You have a great use of the LEGO Star Wars armor element, which they also used on some of the LEGO space items, really making him feel more bulky and armored up than the rest, and even the accessory is pretty perfect. All in all, this is a real standout compared to a whole set full of incredible exclusive minifigures, although I will say it's not necessarily the most detailed one on the list, so let's move on to number 9. Coming in at number 9, we have Tasha the Witch Queen, which comes as part of the LEGO Minifigures D&D series. This is actually based off of some original Dungeons & Dragons artwork, and I feel like they've really rendered the character phenomenally in LEGO form. She has printing on the side of the arms as well as dual molded legs, and I love the way they've actually done the printing on the legs that make it feel that she has a slightly uneven gray cloth for the skirt there. You have some black printing moving upwards on the front of the leg. It's very subtle, but makes it feel better than just simple boots that the character is wearing. I also really like the usage of the dual molded hat and hair combo. This was a piece originally introduced for LEGO Video, but after the wave it was supposed to appear in was cancelled, they were scrambling to find other places to include it. Eventually, they were able to recolor it for the LEGO Hocus Pocus set and now for the D&D series, and I'm really glad that at least one of the cancelled video molds survived the purge. Overall, the expression and accessories for the character is fantastic as well. She has her hideous laughter spell and the face to go along with it, and all in all, love the color scheme, love the detailing. This is a really cool minifigure, but there are some even cooler ones on the list. And so, let's move on to number 8. For number 8, we have another caster of magic, and that is Albus Dumbledore, who comes in the Hogwarts Castle Great Hall set. This is a remarkably well-detailed minifigure, especially for a standard retail set and not anything special or a collectible minifig series. Something interesting they did for Harry Potter this year was give arm printing to the 3 core professors, Dumbledore, Severus Snape, and Minerva McGonagall. But I feel like Dumbledore has the coolest printing. You have this metallic, almost rose gold coloration on the torso, and you have a very, very intricate print for the robes and the side of the arms. It's just really well done. He's also reutilizing the collectible minifigure dual molded hair and hat combo piece, which was printed in the previous iteration, but I still think it looks very good unprinted, and the actual design of the beard is also really great. The facial features are very well done, but to me, the standout part about this figure is that amazing silver and kind of speckle rose gold printing, which even continues onto the back of the skirt. But with that, we can move on to number 7. And at number 7, we have a minifigure that I guess technically sort of appeared in some form in December of last year, but he got a new form this year, so I'm counting him on the 2024 list, and that is Shadow the Hedgehog from the Supersonic vs. Egg Drillster set. Shadow the Hedgehog is an example of LEGO really going all out when producing these Sonic minifigures, and I wanted to include him on the list because of the incredible detail on the dual molded legs. The boots and sneakers look really good, and even printed gauntlets on the side of the arms, and one thing that really impressed me was even some of the red streaks in his hair, which is pretty hard to pull off. I bet LEGO had to introduce some potentially new technology for the printing on it, but it looks really good, and the red actually does look quite good printed on the black, which it doesn't always do. This is the version of Shadow with an angry expression, and it's very relevant now with Sonic 3 releasing soon, so I figured this is a pretty perfect minifigure to include on the list. Moving on to number 6, who is about to make a name for himself here. He's been waiting his whole life for this, and this is Gambit from the LEGO X-Men X-Mansion. Gambit is a minifigure that is incredibly sought after, and a lot of people were asking for Gambit for years and years. The timing is perfect, especially with his introduction in Deadpool and Wolverine, as well as his amazing showcase in the X-Men 97 animated series. The name's Gambit, remember it. And overall, this is a really well produced minifigure. While the print detail isn't amazing, it really is just a torso and leg printing, as well as a head print, I feel like the minifigure comes together remarkably well. You have the pink armor as well as the boots showcased underneath the long coat, and I really do love the addition of the LEGO Ninjago wolf mask opponent claw element, which actually is used to represent his magic cards being shot out from his hands. It's a really clever element reuse in transparent pink, and I feel like it looks super cool to actually have him throw 3 cards out, which you can see as part of his energy projectiles. The 2 different faces, one smiling and one angry, is pretty perfect for the character, and the only thing that would have made this better would have been dual molded legs, which we did see this exact minifigure have in the LEGO Marvel short that just came out on Disney+, but you know what? I'll take this minifigure as it is because it is still a really cool rendition of one of the most iconic pop culture characters ever. But speaking of pop culture icons, for number 5, we have Sauron from Lord of the Rings. This is a remarkably detailed figure sporting a brand new rubberized armor and helmet mold. While this is actually proven to be fairly controversial in its execution, some people wanted it to have maybe a separate armor and helmet piece, I feel that they actually were able to really pull this off well, and they were able to make it as spiky as possible by molding the element in rubber, whereas a standard printed plastic piece probably would have been just a little bit less spiky and not as accurate to the movies. The face underneath the helmet is fantastic, a black head with flames forming the eyes looks super cool, and he even got a custom cut for the cape to really make it fit around the armor. Overall, with the gunmetal gray printing on the figure, this is phenomenal. The only thing I would have changed is that, yes, I do feel like the helmet kind of tends to blend into the armor a little bit, and because of the way it's set up, you can't actually rotate the head to make him look around, so I still feel like maybe having 2 different rubber components, an armor and a helmet, would have been really cool, but so far, this is still a really nice rendition of the character, and definitely one of the standout minifigures of the year. Moving on to number 4, we have another incredible licensed figure that is an icon of pop culture, and that is Link in his classic outfit, the bright green suit from The Legend of Zelda. Out of the 3 versions of Link that we got in that set, I chose this one because I felt like it was the most iconic out of the 3. He also has the dual molded legs, dual molded arms, printing on the side of the legs for the white stripes, as well as a phenomenal detail for the Master Sword in purple and transparent satin opalescent blue. The Hylian shield is also really well done. It's a brand new mold made for that, and a triple molded component made for the head, with the tan ears, the flame yellowish orange or keyed orange hair, and the green hat. Everything about the figure is phenomenally well produced. Sure, the printing is fairly simple underneath, it really is just a plain green torso with just the belt and straps printed over it, but it is meant to mimic his appearance in the video games, which makes total sense as to why this minifigure would be maybe a little bit more simple than normal when it comes to the print detail. Still, they spared no expense when crafting this icon of a character, and I am really happy with honestly all of the minifigures in that set, but especially this one. And moving on to our top 3, speaking of minifigures that I'm really happy with all the figures that came in the set, but there was one standout, we have Peely from the LEGO Fortnite Battle Bus. LEGO Fortnite's Battle Bus introduced 9 brand new exclusive minifigures, and while all of them are really fantastic, this is the one that stood out to me. Obviously, he has a brand new mold for the Peely piece, which is really cool to see. The actual peel curling down, you can see a bit of the banana underneath, as well as the print on the back of the suit that he's wearing. I also really love the facial expression there. It looks really great compared to the video game counterpart, and the dual molded legs are just the icing on the top. Even the accessory of one of the actual grapplers that you can use in LEGO Fortnite is pretty perfect for the character, and overall, I'm a big fan of how they were able to pull this character off. But moving on to number 2, we have another iconic LEGO character rendered in a brand new form, and that is Jedi Vader from the Dark Falcon. This was part of the LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy series, where they basically inverted the Star Wars universe on its head, resulting in some pretty phenomenal minifigures, but this is absolutely my favorite. Out of all the figures that we got, Darth Vader, but basically recolored to be white and silver, is such a cool idea, and we've actually seen this in some expanded universe and non-canon comics in the past, but I'm really glad that LEGO actually decided to produce this as a minifigure because this is just so well done. Darth Vader was already cool, but when you give him an alternate universe version where he's actually a Jedi with different colors on the suit, it is one of the coolest figures of the year. And while of course the figure is basically just the regular Darth Vader minifigure but in white and silver, I still think that because of the amount of effort that went into producing it and the creativity behind crafting this, it absolutely deserves a high spot on the list. But with that, we can move on to number 1, and y'all probably saw this coming, but my number 1 pick for, honestly, in my opinion, the best minifigure of the year in general is the Dragonborn Paladin from Dungeons & Dragons. Folks don't really know about this, but this is actually based off of an original artwork for Dungeons & Dragons years ago. LEGO basically just took the design and turned it into a minifigure, and it is really well produced. This minifigure sports a brand new armor element that is kind of a combination of two different types of LEGO armors. You have a standard breastplate with a little bit more of extra ridge detail on the bottom, and then you have the gigantic shoulder armor elements, which we first saw in the Ninjago Season 13 Master of the Mountain Shintaro hero armor, but this time they've put it on both sides and combined them all, making this one of the most detailed and coolest armor pieces yet. You also have the dragon headpiece, which originated from video, recolored in gold, which looks really fantastic, as well as printing that extends on the sides of the legs and arms. The actual minifigure itself is entirely cast in silver, as well as it's sporting a brand new piece for the weapon there, a very nicely molded satin opalescent kind of transparent clear crystal element, which looks super cool, as well as a new print for the shield as well. I managed to get dozens and dozens of this minifigure for my own army building. I love that minifigure so much, and it's pretty rare for me to get that for a collectible minifigure, just keep on getting more, but I just had to because this is just so cool. Overall, if I had to say only one thing, the white printing of the fabric on the actual silver honestly doesn't even look that crisp. I feel like they could have made it a lot brighter, but then again, it's not that big of a deal because this is the only time the white coloration appears on the figure, so it really kind of just feels like it is part of the actual suit, that it's kind of this off-white color. Overall though, this is an absolutely stunning minifigure, definitely the best in my opinion of the year, and it was really tough picking this list because there were so many other contenders, the minifigures from the LEGO Jaws set, some of the other Fortnite figures. I literally had a list of 27 minifigures I had to pare down to my top 10, so I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of folks in the comments saying that maybe one or two figures were snubbed, and I love to hear that. Let me know if you agree, and especially if you disagree, what are your favorites, and what licensed minifigures would you rather have on the list? That's all for this video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon, and bye for now.